Hello folks, how on earth are you? I am massively hyped. Something's just happened just now to rFactor 2 by Studio 397, and what's just happened is the biggest news to hit rFactor 2 since COVID hit Wuhan. Only this is good news, really good news. Something's just happened that we've been waiting about 9 years for. There is a brand new release candidate for rFactor 2. Have a look at this. This release candidate is bringing many improvements, the most important of which, at least to my mind, and I'm sure to rFactor 2 fans' minds, will be Real Road 2. By the way, before I go any further, if you enjoy this video, please think about hitting that subscribe button. That would really help out the channel, and you get everything for free and future updates on videos. But back to it. What is happening in this update, which has literally just dropped, to utilize this update, you'll need to go onto the release candidate of the simulation, not the public build. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But we have got updates to track infringements. There's a whole new 3-tier system, which will change the way points are given out, or deducted, if you like, if you cut the track. Now you will have things like if you, in a race, if you gain a position through a cut, you'll be asked to give it back, and you will be able to scale up and down how strict the track limits are. There's about 3 tiers of it. That's not even the big news. So for physics, this is the big news. Dynamic track temperatures based on weather conditions and the cars driving on track. That's right, it's finally happening. We're getting live track temperatures in rFactor 2. For a long while now, weather has not affected the track temperature, i.e. that has not affected the tyre temperature. We've got that now. There's been improvements to sound, there's been improvements to traction control and ABS systems. So not only will you be able to turn the ABS on and off, now you will also be able to choose how much the traction control cuts the power by, slip angles, all that sort of thing. Also in ABS, rather than the old system where it would just control all of the wheels, it now is much more like real life, where it controls all of the wheels individually, depending on how much or not they're locking up. Isn't that amazing? Coming back to this Real Road, this is absolutely amazing. So, essentially representing how the track behaves and interacts with the virtual world around it. Sorry, I'm really excited. I might muddle my words a bit. The rFactor 2 Real Road system has undergone significant development for this build, now featuring track temperatures that dynamically change based on both weather conditions and cars circulating the track and driving over it. So this is whatever's going on with the weather will affect the ambient temperatures and the track temperatures, and even the cars that are driving over it. It's going to be fully dynamic, and there's more as well as part of this feature enhancement. Track temperatures can be affected by a number of variables such as time of day, cloud cover, ambient temperatures, geographical location of the circuit, and the act of other vehicles circulating and warming the tarmac. Track temperatures will initialize at the beginning of the session based on weather conditions set by the player, and will dynamically change over the course of the track running. Based on these interactions and atmospheric conditions, the track surface temperature will change and influence the car and tyre behaviour over the course of a session. Furthermore, this is amazing. Furthermore, track temperatures can also be heavily influenced by differing levels of shade on the racing surface, meaning that parts of the circuit under the cover of shadow will remain cooler and heat up at different rates than tarmac exposed directly to the sun rays. Wow. Wow. Okay, we're catching up with other weather systems like, say, Automobilista 2s at the moment. This is unbelievable. In the addition of dynamic track temperatures is something that our community here at rFactor 2 have requested for a long time. Haven't we? If you're an rFactor 2 fan, you'll know exactly what I mean. If you're not, It's funny. Only just the other day, I had a comment on one of my videos about R-Factor 2. Someone was getting a bit down about R-Factor 2. They still love the old dog, but it's, you know, it's just not keeping up with other sims. And I said, honestly, I replied to it and I said, look, keep your hopes up, because I think this is the year for R-Factor 2. And with the improvements we've just had to the GTE tyres, the improvements to the AI, we're now getting track temperatures. This is big news. In the UI here, you will be able to, there you go, there's your onboard TC power cut, so you can change the amount of power that's cut, you can change the slip angle. This is quite amazing. So you can read all about this here, and the track limits. Go and have a read on the Studio 397 website. I will leave a link to it in the description of this video. Also leave a link to the article on Race Department that Mike has just posted. Nice one there. And also, yes, tender springs. We're going to be having tender springs added. Now, importantly, so the tender spring is only going to be added to the Porsche Cup car and will be added to other cars that have it in real life in the future. But it's just the Porsche Cup car. You'll have to go to the test section of the car classes to find that. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And also, the new ABS apparently is, let's see here, only working on, we need to look under physics here, only going to be working on the McLaren Senna, which is also a test version. Okay, so this is all a big claim, but does it work? Before we go into that, if you come to your library to go into, if you're new to R-Factor 2, to get to your release candidate, you right click on your R-Factor game, go to properties, come down here to betas, and you should be on none. What you need to do is select the release candidate. So this is an opportunity for us to test this before it becomes a full build, because obviously there might be the odd issues. In fact, Studio 397 have kindly let us know that there are some known issues, and I'm sure they'll solve those before the release candidate, before the full version is released. It's under known issues here. So there's a description missing so far for the tender spring. When you go and find your tender spring in your setups, there will be a description missing. Apparently cut detection is presently very strict on turbo cars for some reason, under investigation. And there's a few different bits and pieces. Anyway, does this actually work? Let's jump into R-Factor 2 release candidate version and find out. I'm so excited. Here we go. Okay, so here we are in R-Factor 2. Let's jump into our single player here. I've already selected the McLaren Senna GTR, but just for your reference, when you go to select your series, or you need all cars and tracks, then you go to select your car. And if you scroll all the way down, so you've got your normal McLaren Senna, which will be in here. So McLaren Senna. Where are you, Senna? There you go. There's your normal McLaren Senna. That's not the one you want. I don't believe the old Senna actually had ABS or traction control. Am I wrong? Or am I not remembering correctly? I don't remember it having those. I'm not sure whether they've put it on this car. I could be wrong. Tell me in the comments if I'm an idiot. But if you come down here, all the way down to test, you'll find that you've got your McLaren there in two different liveries, and also the Porsche, so you can try out that third spring on the Porsche Cup. But we're not concentrating on it at the moment. We're going for the Senna. So we've got our Senna selected. Now, if we come back to our quick event here, let's go for a qualifying event, so we can check out those track limits as well whilst we're doing this. What I'm going to do is, let's see. So let's set ourselves up a 20-minute session. And let's, if we go to scripted weather, There we go. It's got our scripted weather. Preset of medium on the real road. Default on the wet road and normal timescale. So if we've got scripted, what I've done here, what I'm going to do here, sorry, is take the temperature all the way down to 0 degrees for this entire session. Or rather, because we're not going to run the whole session. So 0 degrees. And I'm going to make it, let's see, I don't want it raining, but let's have overcast. So the sun in the sky isn't going to heat up the track if this is in fact working. And I'm doing this straight away. This is just dropped, and I want to get this out to you as soon as possible. So you're seeing this as I see it. And I'm really, really hoping that this works. I'm going to be so impressed if this does. Overcast and overcast. There we go. So let's just check. I'm not going to change anything with humidity. I'm not sure if humidity and wind speeds are working just yet, but it's just going to be the temperature. So we're at 0 temperature. Let's see if that's had any effect on track loading times. Because obviously, if they're going to set the weather at the start of the track, that might increase loading times. Doesn't look like it is so far. I'm using Donington because I've been testing out the new GTE tyres at Donington just recently. And some interesting differences between those and the old ones. By the way, if you find that you're faster or slower on the new tyres, it might not just be down to the tyres. Because, of course, the BOP has been adjusted for some cars. So, for instance, in the Ferrari, I think there's minus 5 kgs of ballast in there, and the Aston Martin's got heavier. I found that I'm now slightly, well, the lap times are very, very similar, but you might find that it's, anyway, besides the point, you get what I'm on about. Right, let's go into our setup and powertrain, and under this this is a new section. It used to just be engine, it's now engine and electronics, so you can set your TC, power, your level of traction control, but also when it cuts in, and also the level of assistance provided by the traction control. As you can see that I'm reading from the onboard TC slip angle there. You can set all of that up, so that's new. Dampers and springs, by the way, are now in separate sections. So if we're in, so we got our dampers there. If we go to our springs, you can see that there is now a tender spring rate. That's detached for this car because it doesn't have it. It's just the Porsche. Anyway, let's get out on track and see what happens to the tyres. Now, before we do, this car uses tyre warmers. I know that because I have loaded it up once and jumped straight in before I quickly made this video, and the tyres were already about 60 degrees, so it's using tyre warmers. So the temperature, if the track's at 0 degrees, up here, by the way, look, it's actually telling us, we've now got weather and track, it's telling us that the track, or the weather is at 0 degrees and the track's at 3 degrees. So we'll see what happens with that. Right, let's see what happens. Okay, so there's our tyre. I've got my tyres there. You should be able to see that there. They are currently at 60 odd degrees all around, and we're going to start racing. So they should, well, on a normal day with normal temperatures, you expect them to warm up or stay around the same. They are already, if you look, they're already decreasing. So let's see what happens when we start driving around. By the way, if you look at my dash there, if I use a little bit too much throttle, if you look at the dash in the middle, you'll see those 2 orange bars. That is my traction control. It now shows up on your dash. And also, if we brake, there you go, in blue and red there, you can see the ABS. And I can really feel it through the steering as well. Not overly, but I can really feel the ABS kicking in. Absolutely amazing. But let's see how the track feels. Now our tyre temps, keep an eye on the tyre temps. Oh, God. Okay, we're on pre-warm tyres. And I'm sure this track usually has a fair bit more grip than this. It feels... Hang on. It feels quite slippery. And there's our track limits. That's our track limit. It was calculating whether I'd gained any time there or not. We'll come back to that. I just want to see how this track feels and what happens with our tyres. Obviously the temps are going to go up and down as we go around corners, or if I spin up the wheels, brake too hard or anything like that. But it's what happens to them generally we want to see. Yeah, this track is properly slippery. Tyre temps going down to 48 degrees on the front left there. Okay, let's see what happens if I push it. Will they stay low if I push it? They are. What's that? It's hard to look at them whilst I'm driving and trying to push it a bit, but they're all staying around 50 degrees at the moment. And the track feels slippery. This is amazing. This is absolutely... It really seems like it's working. But we've got a second... there we go, track limits again, because it's telling me this this lap will not count. Apparently, what it will now also do is if you are close to the end of your lap, and so say if I gained an advantage by cutting something here, if I cut that corner there and came straight on to the straight how I'd have a lot of speed, it would then invalidate your next lap. So it does that now as well. 48 degrees on my left front, which has now gone up again because of corners. 47 degrees. And they're not getting any warmer. So the track's feeling quite cold, and it really is feeling... it really is. The track temperature is near enough 0 degrees, or at least that's what we started on. And, you know, when you drive on a normal road in 0 degrees, tarmac can feel a bit slippery. So, it's at 2 degrees. 2 degrees. Let's see what happens. Because I'm telling you now, that track doesn't usually feel like that. It does not usually feel like that at all. Let's see what happens if we now change our temperature to 60 degrees. So, pretty damn hot. And let's also make it sunny so it stays hot. Because if it's doing what Studio 397 are saying it's doing, which is, you know, the ambient temperature will be affecting it. With the sun, so everything's at 60 degrees temperature, and we've got the sun shining. If it's doing what it says it's doing, it should keep the track hot. So now I'm expecting probably initially more grip, but that might drop off because it's a bit too hot. The tyres might start to melt a bit. We might get a lot more wear on the tyres. I don't know if I've got time to do a full long stint to see if that happens or not. But this is amazing. This is amazing. I think it's definitely working, because that track felt like a very cold road. It really did. Looks like R Factor 2 is on the way to becoming, as they tout it, the world's most dynamic racing simulator. This is pretty damn dynamic. Okay, so it's telling us we've got weather and track at 60, even the track's at 60 degrees. So let's get straight out there. And got our tyre warmers on. So we're starting off in the 60s, nearly 70s. I think that's a little bit hotter than earlier. I've got to stand still for a bit until the pit exit light that in red there goes out. So whilst we're wet, oh, it's gone out. I'm just standing still. I'm just standing still for a moment. Look at those temperatures. What are they going to do? They're just sitting there around 60 degrees. And I'm not even moving. Which means the track is cooking. Right, let's get rid of our pit speed limiter. I'm imagining if I was to spin up the wheels or spin or anything like that. Oh, hello. Hang on. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Did you hear that? You know when you go out on a road and it's really hot in your normal road car, even if you're going reasonably slowly round a corner, your tyres might squeal a bit because it's hot. I just heard them do that, and I can tell you right now, this track is feeling a lot grippier. This is feeling really grippy. Holy heck! Okay, apologies if I might seem to be getting rather overexcited. But I'm a sim racer, I get excited by stuff like this. This is making my day. And I've been a supporter of R Factor 2 since it came out. And I've been with it for a long time now. Seeing what's happening with it this year is absolutely amazing. I've got much more grip than I did earlier. But, oh, I'm not sure how long it's going to last though, because the track's really hot. It's an extreme kind of heat. I'm going to really try and push it. I might end up wearing out my tyres a little bit too quick. We're not going to run this test for that long, but okay, my tyres are up in the 80s. And I've stamped on the throttle there. The back end's come out a bit and then come back in again. Earlier on, it, as you saw, it went out. Let's try that again. Yeah, that's a lot different to last time round. This is amazing. If you end up watching this video, if you're on your way home from work, on a train, or out somewhere and you're not near your computer, when you get home, oh, you're going to try this. This is something else. This is awesome. And look at my tyre temps. They are I was able to catch that pretty easy. Now, I don't know about how this will affect tyre wear. I would have thought a really hot track is going to be, you know, worse, and how it will affect tyre pressures as well. Because a really hot track would be worse on tyre wear than a really cold one. This track feels completely different, absolutely night and day from the first little test we ran there. If you want this channel to survive, do me a favor and hit subscribe. May seem like a small thing to do, but it enables me to make more videos for you. By hitting that button you can help us thrive, so let's keep this channel alive. Don't cost nothing, don't take no time. Come on now, keep this channel alive.